Hello, everybody, and welcome to another Swampy Comics tier list. Let's tier up the comics for this last week. What is it? August 6th, 2025. And yeah, it was a good week, so let's just get right into it. First up, we got Absolute Green Lantern. And this issue was great. Um, Answering more questions and creating more questions. And oh, man. We're really seeing Joe and Hal's respective powers come into full force. We finally see fully how Hal ended up getting his powers. I kind of thought that we just, I don't know, I thought we got it last issue, but oh no, we got it this issue, and it was creepy and weird and awful in the best ways, and I really enjoyed this from front to back. We got a lot more of Hector Hammond in the Absolute Universe, and with his assistant, who my personal theory is Carol Ferris, because that woman that he's with has black hair and she's wearing a pink suit, and they've done really a good job of kind of showing the what is it, the color templates of different characters that are in the Absolute Universe, and so I think this one is pretty clearly absolute Carol Ferris. We'll see how that pans out. We'll see what role she has to play. But Carol Ferris is one of my favorite mainline DC characters. So, she's getting more and more in the spotlight in the main universe, being in JLU and a bigger part of Green Lantern as an active Star Sapphire. So, yeah, hopefully we get more of her. But man, Hector Hammond is a dick. I really enjoy this version of Hector Hammond. Mainline DC, Hector Hammond is such a petty, awful, just just the worst kind of dude. And I mean, this Hector Hammond is also the worst kind of dude, but in such a fun, just he's successful and cocky, and oh man, I really like this. I really liked the epic moments that this issue had with Joe realizing what she kind of needed to do with Hal, and dragging him through the Green Lantern battery or ship or whatever landed on the town. And what that ended up, we see what happened to John Stewart. He is glowing yellow, and he is floating within this black circle that we've seen at the beginning of almost every issue. I think every issue, letting them know to be without fear. Where is this leading? What's going on with John? Why is he glowing yellow? Anybody who knows much about Green Lantern in the mainline DCU knows that the yellow lanterns usually signify fear, the opposite of kind of what the Green Lanterns do, overcoming that kind of thing. And yeah, I'm really excited to see what the emotional spectrum is and what it means to be a lantern in the Absolute Universe. And it just seems a lot weirder and really cool. So, I mean, this one's going in S tier. This was probably the best issue. I mean, between last issue and this one, like two best issues of the series so far. I mean, just fantastic stuff. Al Ewing is doing a killer job, and Janoy Lindsay's art is just fantastic. So yeah, it's going in the S tier. Next up, we got Absolute Superman number 10, and this is an exciting issue. This is cliche to say, but this one really did have it all. It had heart, some cool flashbacks to Krypton, a lot of action, character death, betrayal, um, questions answered, new questions brought up. Wow. This was a powerful issue, and really kind of dealt with this version of Kal-El wondering if he can kill, because the advice that he gets from his father through these flashbacks is a little different. And his father talking about, yeah, sometimes you got to kill when necessary. And, this version of Kal-El deciding to buck the advice of his father, as opposed to, I mean, Superman traditionally is so influenced by the Kents and the recordings of his father and or mother in some tellings, but this one looking at those teachings and deciding for himself, no, this isn't right, and this isn't right for me. Like, I'm not gonna do that. It was really cool to see, and it had consequences for him, like pretty dire ones. I'm wondering where he's going next and what's going to happen to him because it looks like Ra's al Ghul does, in fact, capture him. Um, if I'm, yeah, like I, oh, things are dire, and not only that, but the Revolutionary Freedom Fighting Force, the Omega Men. It seems like it was all just a big demoralizing setup for them with Ross's daughter Talia al Ghul being revealed as the Primus of the Omega Men, and them swiftly all being killed except for her and Jimmy Olsen, who's with Lois. And are they still with Ross? Are they on the run right now? I can't wait to see. You know, the series is really good. I really like this. Not not edgy in a bad way, but just darker but still very humanized retelling of the Superman mythos in this bleak, awful, absolute world. This was a great issue. I really liked it. Um, it didn't hit some of the highs that I'd hoped, but I'm just being nitpicky, which is why this is going in A tier instead of S tier. But this was a great issue, and this cover, so badass. Yeah, Peacemaker, Christopher Smith, dead. Dead, shot dead in the head by Ra's al Ghul, and yeah, grim stuff. Really a cool issue. Oh, and also, I should also note, it seems like Brainiac is under the thrall of Ross. I thought it would be more of a cooperative situation, so we'll see how that pans out for those two, because these things usually don't last forever between villains. A great issue though, great issue. Next up, we got Captain America issue 2. This is the second issue of Chip Zdarsky's run on Captain America, and this was great. This had all the pardon me. How do I describe this? What I really like about Captain America is when he's doing soldier stuff. Like, it's all cool when he's fighting with the Avengers or fighting with this team and that and taking on big threats, but I really like Marvel characters when they're a little more meat and potatoes and doing the thing that their archetype demands, Logan wandering and being semi-feral and not fitting in with the world. Like, that's my favorite version of Logan. And Captain America in the suit doing soldier stuff is my favorite version of Captain America. And they are doing straight up doing soldier stuff. They are infiltrating Latveria with the new Howland Commandos and the new Captain America, David Colton, who became Captain America before Steve Rogers was unfrozen in this version of the story. We'll see how that canon pans out. I'm still learning more and more about Marvel canon, but yeah, it's really cool to see Steve not in command of the operation and listening to orders and, not being the head of things. And not only that, but kind of butting heads with David in a way. By the end of the issue, you realize David Colton does not really care for Steve Rogers because he thinks he's naive, and maybe Steve is, but it's within the essence of Steve to do what's right and not kill and try to capture and I don't know. This is setting up a really cool arc between these two. I'm wondering if I don't know if he exists in current continuity or what the situation of the character is, but maybe this is going to set David Colton up to be more of a U.S. agent type of character, if not by name, then by influence. I hope we get more of him. But yeah, this issue was really great. They infiltrate Latveria. They have a cool fight with a Doom bot, and where they meet the rebels behind the lines, and they go to infiltrate Castle Doom, which they do successfully. And yep, Steve runs head to head with Doctor Doom after a botched assassination attempt. Um, yeah, it was really cool ending on Doom face to face with Captain America in issue 2. I'm really excited to see where this pans out. Um, yeah, Zdarsky killing it right off the bat. We're gonna put Captain America issue 2 in A tier. All right, let's see what we got next. I believe we got Daredevil. Yep, Daredevil, Cold Day in Hell, issue 1. We're going to be going through all 3 issues. This one did not come out last week. This one came out a couple months ago. Um, but yeah, issue 3 dropped this week, and so I decided to pick up the whole series and kind of pad out this week's pulls. And I'm glad that I did. So, this is kind of a future-ish story about Matt Murdock, and he's lost his Daredevil powers. And we actually open on him visiting the grave of Wilson Fisk, Kingpin himself. And yeah, it starts off really somber, and you realize Daredevil is not, um, or sorry, I should say Matt Murdock is no longer Daredevil. He's lost his powers. He's just a blind priest, maybe, that works at a soup kitchen helping the homeless. And he comes across a man who seems to be responsible for some explosion that happens in the middle of the street, and this gas gets released that gives Daredevil his powers back, and he's tries to find the source of this explosion because he starts hearing a heartbeat through the rubble, where he comes across an aging Steve Rogers holding a wall up, telling "You got to find her. This was all her. Like this all happened because of her. You gotta track her down and help her." And Steve Rogers is completely stabbed through by rubble and about to die, and he does. And some thugs take his shield. We find out those thugs work for an old, decrepit, acupuncture addicted version of Bullseye. And at this point, we're unsure what Bullseye's plan is, but Matt decides, well, I got these powers again. I never wanted to do this Daredevil thing again, but there's a reason for everything, and maybe God's calling me to do this. I don't know. But he dons the suit by the end of the last page, and he goes to find this girl. I really like this issue. It was great setup. It's going in A tier. A tier. Let's see, Daredevil Cold Day in Hell issue 2 continues on with old Matt Murdock in his suit, swinging around um, and trying to find these thugs that took this girl, who we find her name is Tyra. And it seems Tyra has some really special abilities, what we see in this. She's not just a girl, she's a super powered girl who has an ability to flash bright light, and I don't know. We'll see more of it by the end of the series, but Bullseye seems to really want her for some reason, and we kind of get through this issue, in between Daredevil, old Matt Murdock as Daredevil, just swinging around, kicking ass, meeting up with Foggy, being a great detective of sorts, and even though he's a lawyer by trade, technically. Um, but it's just so cool. The art, I need to mention at this point, is fantastic. It really, like, especially this full page. There's a full page shot of Elektra in this issue that just looks like a Frank Miller drawing, and I mean that in the best way. This thing is clearly kind of harkening back to the Dark Knight Returns, and in the best way possible. I mean, is Daredevil is Marvel's Batman, so to speak. I mean, they really are two peas in a pod with motive and morality and all for the most part. And yeah, the art in this was so cool. It nailed the tone. It was clear while also feeling shaky in a great stylistic way. I really, really like McNiven's art in these books. Um, but yeah, issue 2 was a banger. We got Daredevil swinging around, kicking ass, and we kind of find out he gets saved by Elektra at the end because his powers start slipping in and out throughout this because this gas that affected him seems to only be temporary. and it brings him issues, and we see those issues happen, and Elektra saves him, and yeah, we kind of find out that this girl is possibly being hunted by Bullseye because this gas is the same kind of toxin that Matt Murdock was initially infected with, most likely, and then this girl can maybe blind people to give them Daredevil powers. Like that's kind of what I took from it. Somebody correct me if I'm wrong, but I really liked issue 2. It was bloody and violent and meditative and uh, just Matt Murdock's character is just on full display in this issue, and Bullseye is frightening because you might have found out last issue or this one, but Bullseye has a a Frank Castle, a Punisher who's had his arms and legs amputated, hanging on a wall that he seemed to have just been slowly torturing over the years. Like it's a really awful and grotesque thing to see, and me as a Punisher fan, a bummer to see poor Frank in such disarray. But it also just sinks in just how much of a psychopath Bullseye is and what makes him such a great unhinged villain. Like he's so goofy on first look, and you're like, oh, the guy that can throw stuff good with a little bullseye on his head, scary. But no, he's like just the most. He's one of the most awful and frightening villains to me in the Marvel universe. Like he has no gray morality. He is just an awful, vengeful, murderous being, and we see it on full display in this issue. I really liked this one. We're going to give issue 2 of Cold Day in Hell A tier as well. I mean, there's a lot of good books that I'm reviewing this week. Next up, we got, of course, issue 3, the grand finale, where we see Daredevil meet up and try and save a captured Tyra and try to stop Bullseye from enacting his final plan and just having massive bombs of this gas go off all across the city. And this issue, the pacing of it, the story itself, the art, everything was perfect. This was one of the best things I've read this year. Like, I just, from beginning to end, it was wonderful. Like, I can't, if you can pick up these 3 issues, you should, or wait till the trade comes out, if that's your thing. But I mean, this is a must read for even a passing Daredevil fan. It's not that long, and it's so dense with story and character development. Like, I don't even want to spoil, I'm not going to spoil how this ends for those that haven't read it. Um, just know that it's worth it. It it's really good, and it's big, and it's full of heart, and it's bloody. And I will say there's just quite the knockdown, drag out fight in between Daredevil and Bullseye in this issue that's just one for the ages. Um, this was a perfect comic book. Daredevil Cold Day in Hell issue 3 is getting S tier. If there was a tier higher, I'd put it in there. It's probably going to go in my top 10, if not my top 5 of best issues I've read this year. It's good stuff. Trust me on this one. Let's bring it down a notch, shall we? And get to Secret 6, issue 6. This was a series that I almost dropped off at issue 3, but I didn't, and I stuck with it, and I really enjoyed it. This is the last issue of this mini series. It's wrapping things up, and let's just get right to it. I was disappointed. I thought this would conclude with much bigger story moments. Much like, I don't have anything against like personal relationships and stuff like that in comics. I love that stuff. But I didn't expect this whole series to just end up being about that, which was a bummer. Consider all the things, all the moving parts we got going on with Checkmate and Amanda Waller and the U.S. government and all the revelations that were made. I guess we're saving those for later. It does look like Jay Nakamura, aka Gossamer, has taken quite the heel turn into being probably much more of an anti-hero, if not an occasional villain. Like, I think we're looking at a new Suicide Squad member, if not, if the Secret Six doesn't get another book. We'll see. But all in all, I thought this would answer a lot more and deal a lot more with the Amanda Waller checkmate government stuff, and it kind of didn't. It was a lot more about John and Jay, and the story was told well, and it was good. And I'm sure that people who are much more focused on that aspect of this story are going to get a lot more out of this issue. But for me, it was just kind of a disappointment. Do I regret getting into this Secret Six miniseries? Absolutely not. It was a good read. It was fine, but this issue in particular was just didn't do it for me. So, yep, Secret Six number 6 is going in the C tier. Indifferent Guy Gardner face here. All right, and let's go to the last issue of this week. We got Wolverines and Deadpool's number 2. Um, this was great. I really enjoy this a lot. Like the first issue had me like, all right, I can't wait to get into more. I can't wait for more. Um, I'll get to my disappointment in a second. I promise it's a valid one. But yeah, I really love this. I really loved the kind of you know switched daddy daughter bring your daughter to work day. They kind of switched it up. So Logan's off with Ellie and Deadpool's off with Laura. And I really liked the interactions between Deadpool and Laura. They're two peas in a pod in the best way. Um, and it was a lot of fun. There was a lot of kick ass action this series. Um, Deadpool, I'm really Deadpool sensitive. If he gets too much, I really hate it really fast. But this was like perfect balance of Deadpool breaking the fourth wall and the occasional, what the hell is he talking about? Like, yes, he wasn't just screaming out of the panel about chimichangas or some dumb shit. Like it was good. It was good. Congrats to Ziggler for killing it. I really like his take on Deadpool in this series, and I really like everybody in this series. It's great. Seeing what is that, Lady Bullseye and Agent X under the thrall of the Shadow King. I think it's pretty cool. I like it when you can take more minor-ish characters and it's always good to put them under the thrall of something supernatural and weird to make them more powerful than they usually be. I'm a I'm a big fan of that kind of stuff. Making them feel like real threats is good. And I really like this whole Shadow King concept. I love a creepy magic concept thrown in a superhero book, and this one's just hitting all the dots for me. A fun read. Let's get to that disappointment. The way this issue ended, I noticed a couple words on the bottom that said "to be concluded." Like there's only one more issue of this miniseries. That bums the hell out of me. Um, I wasn't aware of that. I was hoping this would maybe just be part of the saturation of these, Wolverine and Deadpool right now, and they'd be going a little further with it, but it's wrapping up next month. That's a bummer. I'm really having fun with this book. I'm gonna have to keep up other ways with these characters. I'm in. Let's throw that in the A tier. All right. So, book of the week. It's clearly got two pardon my hiccup. Goodness gracious. We've got two contenders clearly with the S tier. Every now and then something A tier will get special treatment for pick of the week, but not this week. And I'm sure y'all can guess what it's going to be by the way I talked about it. It's this Daredevil issue 3 of Cold Day in Hell. I loved it. It was I can't say more about it than I already did. It's one of the best things I've read this year. Just mwah. Chef's kiss to Charles Soule and Stephen McNiven for writing a fantastic miniseries that paid tribute to a character and former comics and just what it means to be a superhero and the gray area that you got to deal with. And I don't know, it just it was good stuff. So anyway, that's the tier list. We'll catch you next week. We're gonna have a solo RNS Swamp Talk up this week. It's just gonna be Swampy talking about his history of comics because Ralph is out of town being a good dad. So we'll talk to you soon. Everybody, stay safe out there and keep reading.